Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope everything's going well with you. We're back today with another video. Just a short match reaction really from yesterday's game. Um, so yeah, don't really know where to start. You can probably tell by the way I sound today. Broken, really, really broken. Um, it was poor. It really, really was poor from everybody on the pitch. Really. Um, we're going to talk about the game, talk about where it went wrong, talk about what needs to happen from sort of now going forward, etc. So, guys, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe if you're new. Please, comment your thoughts as well down below. We'll start with sort of what went wrong. Well, there's not much that went right, but what went wrong yesterday? I think the first Brentford goal was so poor to concede. David De Gea should obviously say that. I've been saying for quite a while now, David De Gea just isn't. I just don't think he's good enough. I really don't. I think he's a bigger issue than a lot of people sort of make out. I know he's been a legend at the club in the past. He's done things in the past, but this is the present. I think we've got to focus on now. And I just don't see it. I really don't. So yeah, De Gea should have saved the first shot. Then for the second goal, it's so poor. So poor. He plays a pass into Eriksen. We continue to play short instead of going long. Brentford pressed us man for man. So you had, I think it was Tony on Maguire. You had a Buemo on Martinez. Jensen dropped in towards Eriksen, who played as almost a six. You had Rico Henry on Dallo, and I think it's Aaron Hickey, his name is, on Luke Shaw. So they pressed us man for man. And we didn't have an answer to it. Cristiano Ronaldo is not the best with his back to goal. His hold-up play isn't brilliant. And Brentford knew, really, they knew, if we were to play the long ball and try and sort of bypass the press, they'd win the ball. They'd win the sort of aerial duel anyway. So, and they were more aggressive to pick up the loose pieces, the second balls, etc. So, Brentford, I thought they sort of had a very, very good game plan. They were sort of telling us, right, are you going to play short? Okay, if you play short, we'll nick the ball and score. If you play long as well, you haven't really got that much up there. Rashford and Sancho have been really poor. As I said, Ronaldo isn't fantastic. He is obviously quite a tall player, but with his back to goal, he isn't brilliant. So yeah. Yes, that's probably why Ten Hag wants more of a target man striker, just to give you that option at times. If you need to play long and bypass a press, you've got that option to put it up towards like a Sebastian Haller, for example. It just gives you an extra dimension. So yeah, that was for me where the game was won and lost. De Gea's mistake, goals change games of football. They really do. So I think De Gea's mistake. And then the second goal, De Gea again passes it short into Eriksen when he should play it longer. Sorry, guys, I'm suffering from hay fever right now. But yeah, they're 2-0 up within however many minutes it was, 4-0 up at half time. The third goal, obviously, Martinez against me at the back post. We don't defend the set piece well enough. And the fourth goal, we get hit on the counter. Just poor all round, really is. So what I'm going to say is, please don't attend the Liverpool game. Manchester United fans, please don't attend the Liverpool game. We've got a manager in Erik ten Hag who has been sold short, I would say. He wanted 6 signings at the start of the summer. He's got 3 signings he's got. A report came out today. He's worried about pushing for other signings or for other forward players, etc., and then giving the go-ahead for those signings because he's worried that will take money away that we need for De Jong. It really is, and we've gone through some players and we could talk about all the players that played poorly yesterday, but I said this on Twitter. You can't keep looking at game by game who's been poor, blaming the same players. You've got to look at the things above the players, that the people above the players, the structure above the players. It's just not right. It's just not right. So you've got to look at the Glazers. You've got to look at the structure, Arnold, Murto, etc. How much can you blame those because they're under the Glazer ownership? Okay, I understand that people don't want to blame those people as much who aren't the Glazers themselves. But still, this new structure, we knew it was going to take time, etc. But still, we've been incredibly poorly planned for this season. We know we have. And I just think what we're suffering right now is the consequence of 17 years of Glazer ownership. I really do. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, although I was quite critical of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he should have been sort of relinquished of his duties. He should have been sacked way earlier than he was. And because he wasn't, he was made to look like a dead man walking. He was made to look like an absolute idiot because he still had to carry on with this group of players that weren't going anywhere. It wasn't his fault that he wasn't sacked. Okay, he could have left of his own accord. Okay, you could have said that. But yeah, he's a dead man walking for months. They left him months and months and months, dead man walking. And they didn't pull the trigger against the 5-0 defeat against Liverpool. But these owners, and I'll say this again and again, they don't understand football. They don't make the right decisions. They're not football people. They take money out of the club. They only spend money which the club generates. They take dividends out. They've got no strategy, and the fans keep accepting it. The fans keep accepting it every time. And I'm included in this as well. I'm included in this. When we win a game, naturally everyone thinks, oh, everything's going well. It's always the football. If you win a game of football, it's the best feeling in the world. If you lose a game of football, it's the worst feeling in the world. And I think what we've got to do, instead of focusing on game by game, okay, we've lost this game, go out on all the players. Okay, give the players criticism. But what's the bigger picture here? Giving the players criticism, what's the bigger picture? What is the bigger picture? It's the Glazers. As Gary Neville said on Sky, I thought Gary was spot on. I think Jamie read that. I think a lot of people need to do the research. Not enough people know what they're talking about when they come to the Glazers. People think the Glazers have spent loads of money. They haven't. They've spent the club's money. They've borrowed money. The club's 600 million in debt, and they took over. It's still the same now. So they haven't paid off any of their debt. Look, I could go on and on. But I couldn't do a live show today, guys. I just couldn't face all the comments, and I just needed just to speak to you guys like this instead, because I know the comments would have been full of great things as always, but it probably would have made me even more depressed than I am right now. So the main bit of analysis from the game, I think, was our build-up play. If you want to analyse the game, you can, but that's why I've refrained to analyse the game too much. I'm focused on the bigger picture now. I hold a season ticket. Right? I hold a season ticket. I will not be going into the stadium for the Liverpool game. I'll say that right now. But I bet you any money that the majority of Manchester United fans will go into the stadium for that game. And this is the massive, massive issue we have. If you're watching at home, you know, make your impact. Don't watch it on televised channels. Try and watch it on a stream instead. These are the sort of things that we've got to start doing to really make a difference. And people say you can't change it. You're never going to get them out. Well, if Manchester United fans don't act right now, consistently, to try and get the Glazers out, this club is gonna go down the divisions. I'm not joking. This club will be in trouble. It will be in trouble, and that's not an overreaction. This club will be in trouble. I think it might be in our last 20 league games or something, compared to everyone else, we're 19th in the league or something unbelievably poor like that. Make no mistake about it. These two fixtures we've played so far this season are against two sides who are sort of, in terms of quality, 10th and lower. We know Brighton. We know Brentford, right? We know they're decent teams. They'll give you problems, etc. But they're not incredible teams. We've got Liverpool on next Monday, on the 22nd. And it's time for the fans to come together. It's time for the fan groups to come together. I just don't understand fans who are going to keep going into the ground. When are you ever going to make a statement against these owners? These owners, this is the time now. We had our chance during the during the Super League, and people went back into the ground. Right? We had our chance. We've got our chance now. We've got our chance. The media is calling them out. Ex-players are calling them out. If 70,000 people go back in the stadium for the Liverpool game, it just shows what mentality you've got. You cannot go into that stadium. You just cannot. And I don't mean to say this to be rude to anyone, but I don't care if you're coming from thousands of miles away. You will be remembered as a hero, as one of the heroes. You will be remembered as one of the heroes if you, as somebody who comes from abroad, and this is usually one of your first games at Old Trafford, you might come regularly, whatever it might be. If you're coming to Old Trafford, or you're planning to come to Old Trafford, you book your accommodation. I understand you pay thousands of pounds probably, right? But you will be remembered as a hero if you join in the protest outside the stadium. If you don't attend at all, don't sell the ticket off, leave the seat empty in any way you can, spread the message across social media, just do whatever you can. If you're not coming to the stadium, get in touch with big supporters. I've been in touch with a particular supporter, sort of a match-going fan, and I've offered my support to him for what he's doing against the Glazers, etc. So, you've got to make a stance somehow. If you're from abroad, make your stance. If you're from England and you go to matches, don't go to them. You've got to make a stance. What we need to realise is this fan base is very much influenced by other people. I'm the same. We all are influenced in somewhat. If we sit down and watch hours and hours of one YouTuber's content that might really rate one player and not rate another player, our mind we're influenced slightly by that. Or if we follow certain people on Twitter that are leaning towards more of a they prefer more direct players, then I'm going to think, I prefer direct players. I'm seeing all the positive things about them. That's what I like to do on Twitter. I like to surround myself with both sides of different opinions. And what we need to realise in this fan base, we're very influenced by other people. So if the more people that come out and say, I'm not going to go to any games, and for the foreseeable future, I'm prepared to do that. I'm prepared to not go for the foreseeable future. I'm saying that now. I'm prepared to not go to any games. And I've always said that. But it hasn't been matched by a lot of other people. And if you think about it, if I don't turn up and 74,000 people still turn up, what message does that send out? Well, that just makes me look silly, really. I've missed out on going to Old Trafford, where the other people have just not even tried. You know what I mean? So I don't care if you're 10 years old, you're 30 years old, you're 80 years old. do not turn up to that stadium. Do not turn up to that stadium. Turn up outside. Don't go in the stadium. Please do not go in that stadium. And different fan groups have got different ideas. Some people think it's we should be doing this, we should be doing that. Okay, that's fine. But I think the biggest message we can send to these owners is just not to be in the stadium. It's going to be on live television. It's against Liverpool. The biggest, I don't care what anyone says, it's the biggest game in English football. Manchester United against Liverpool, right? It's the biggest rivalry in English football. It's the biggest game in English football. If they see on the TV a full empty stadium, just the Liverpool fans in there, what message does that send now? If they see, if the game's cancelled because people block routes and protesting, they block the routes for the coaches, the team's buses to come in. What message does that send out? A huge one. So you cannot shout Glazers out, blah 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 blah, and not do anything about it. You can't do it. I would say Glazers out on Twitter for a long time, and I'm prepared to leave my mark. I'm prepared to leave my mark. I think it's time for the season ticket holders, people in England who live in England, people from abroad, etc., to really sort of put their stance out now and say, right, we're going to be strong against this. Because if you're not going to do it now, then you're never going to do it. You're never going to do it. There's talk from Michael Knighton, I know you've probably seen him on Twitter, about a potential takeover. We don't know whether that's going to happen. We don't know whether it's reliable, but it puts a little bit of pressure on. It's just a little bit of a rumor going around. It's changing. It's changing. In the past, Manchester United would lose a game. People come out, oh, the team's rubbish, the manager's rubbish, etc. In the media, after the game yesterday and this morning, there's reports coming out from journalists. Laurie Whitwell, you've got Sam Lucas, you've got I think it's Sam Lucas, you've got Andy Mitten, you've got so many people that are coming out and talking about the Glazers. Everyone's talking about it. They're talking about it on Sky. They're talking Gary Neville, Melissa Reedy, Carver Solhill, or whatever his name is, one of the guys on with Dharmesh Sheth on the transfer. He's talked about it. You've got journalists talking about it. You've got big fans, people with big followings on Twitter talking about it. Now is the time. Now is the time. This is what I'm focusing my video on now. Because we could dissect the Brentford game more and say Brentford, they ran more than us, they pressed man to man. We didn't bypass the press by going long. We kept playing short. Eriksen got caught. Martinez, they targeted him in the air. Rashford kept taking shots from silly angles. Sancho kept losing the ball. Ronaldo didn't control it. McTominay came on and was awful. Van der Beek didn't do anything. Fred, Shaw, Dalot. You could talk about Dalot. Was awful. You could talk about all this, right? But we always do this, and everyone does it. We've always blamed the managers, and I have done so as well. We always do. There isn't. You can say Erik ten Hag, should he have started a more physical player in there, another taller player? You can talk about all these things, but at the end of the day, the reason why we're actually in this state in the bigger picture is the Glazers and the structure. It's the Glazers and the structure. A lot of these players, I tell you now, a lot of these players wouldn't be here right now if we had a different ownership, a different structure. We would have hired different managers. We wouldn't have signed Maguire, probably wouldn't have signed Wan-Bissaka, we wouldn't have signed Bruno. We probably would have sold players like Shaw, Dalot, maybe. We might not have signed Dalot or Fred if Jose. Do you see what I'm saying? We've had managers from all different philosophies. We've got sort of a mismatch of players with different styles of play, prefer different systems, etc. So that's going to be my final end on this, guys. I like to talk about football. I love talking about football on the pitch, tactical stuff, brilliant. Right, player weaknesses, player strengths, brilliant. But there's a bigger message I want to send out today, and that is, please do not turn up at Old Trafford for the Liverpool game. Do not go inside. Turn up at Old Trafford, but protest outside. Stay outside. Do not go in, please. Please don't go in. And this is what we just need this to be relentless. People need to buy into this. People need to buy into this because why? Another thing as well. Why would you want to go in Old Trafford to watch Liverpool beat us? Why would you like? I hate saying it. I hate saying it, but what chance have we got against Liverpool the way we're playing? You know what I mean? So I love Manchester United. I'm very passionate about Manchester United. It affects my mood a lot whether we win or lose a game. It really does. But why would you want to go in that stadium? And I know there's some, the more old-fashioned fan who, doesn't want to miss a game and, show up. I'm going to Old Trafford. I'm a great legacy fan and all this, but it's not about you. It's not about your reputation. It's not about your make sure I get all the games in. I'm never going to miss a game. It's not about that. When you look back in 10 years' time, if you stay at the stadium for the rest of the season, don't go in for the rest of the season, and the Glazers are forced to sell, someone else takes over, you can look back at yourself and think, wow, I've really made a change here. We're going to have to take some short-term pain. We are going to have to take some short-term pain. I want to go into Old Trafford, right? I don't really want to go in for the Liverpool game anyway, right? But I want to go to Old Trafford generally to watch my team. Of course I do, right? And when it gets to Monday against Liverpool, we'll all probably be feeling a little bit more better than we are now. We'll probably have the faintest hope that we can do something, right? But you can make a real difference to the history of Manchester United. You can change history here. And no one's saying that if no one turns up for the Liverpool game, the Glazers are going to go. No one's saying that. It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of sort of action to try and get rid of these Glazers. But we've got to try. You've got to try. You've got to try, because if we do it, my goodness, we're going to be a massive threat again. I tell you that now. We are going to be a massive threat. The fan base that we have in terms of the reach of the fan base, the revenue we generate, the history we've got, I think we can do bigger and better things if and only if we have a change of ownership. So that's my thoughts, guys. They're my thoughts there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, if you are a season ticket holder or planning to go to that game, please listen to what I've said. I can't force you not to go. Please take it into account, guys, because this is part of a bigger movement. I've said on record, and I'll say it again, I won't be going into the stadium for that Liverpool game. I will not be going into the stadium for that Liverpool game. I'm going to stick by that. No matter what anyone else is doing, I'm sticking by that. So you can join me if you like in not going into the stadium. Or if you want to go into the stadium, it's your choice. But now is the time to make action. Cheers, guys. Have a good day.